What is going on, viewers? Today in the shop, 2008 Chevy Cobalt. The customer's complaint is the left rear tire locked up. Now, before I get you in a closer view and let you know what happened and what we're going to do to fix it, I want to say if you're watching my videos, thank you. If you have not yet hit that subscribe button, just click that little button. It's much appreciated. So now, let's get a closer look into what had caused this tire to lock up. Alright guys, pulled the wheel. The drum obviously was seized. It wouldn't turn or do nothing. So it got behind for this self-adjuster right here, which was also kind of tight. So once he got that loose, finally was able to get the drum off, and then yeah, this is what happened. This got down in here and lodged itself and caused the left rear tire to lock up. So what we're going to do to fix this is new brake shoes, new hardware, and a new drum. So let's start tearing this one apart. First thing we're going to start with is this U-bar. That's what holds the pads on instead of the little pins with the spring. This way is the way they do it on this one. So we're going to go ahead and, now these will be under a lot of tension. So when you go to take these off, you know, be careful. Put your hand there or something, because it will kind of pop out on you. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so to get these off, I'm just using a pry bar and to kind of get behind it. Again, like I said, you're going to want to there you go. Same thing with this one, just kind of get behind it on the bar and now I got this side free. So now I'm just going to take this top spring off. That's easy to do. We can just kind of pull this off to the side, lift it up. Use a screwdriver, new hardware anyway, so we'll just pry it off like that. There's the bad one where the shoe kind of came off, lodged itself. Here's a self-adjuster. We're going to take this little U thing off for the self-adjuster. Okay, now this spring, now you can't see it, but right under here, there's like a little U that fits over a slot. So we got to get it off of that. Just about there. There it is. See, that little U, there's like a little knob under here that it goes behind. So once you get that off, here's your e-brake. This cable right here, I don't know if you can see it very well. We'll have to push this in, hold it with some pliers, and slide the little bracket here, e-brake thing, off of there. So let me get some pliers and we'll do that. All right, guys, here's the setup. I use the needle nose to hold the end. I use the pad to push that spring back, and then just cutters, but not too tight where you're going to cut the line, and zip ties to hold that. Now what this does is it allows you to let that fall off. Yeah, so we'll have to redo that one. All right, round two. Hopefully these don't fly off again. But once you have that spring pushed back, those locked on to stop the spring from going back forward, you should be able to just kind of slide it out. But we did not want the spring to pop, because now we're going to have to push it back in to get the new one on. But it is what it is. I'm sure they make tools, or a special tool for this. But if you're doing it at home, you may not have this special tool. So we'll do it this route. Now we got to put the new one back on. All right, in order to push that spring back, after we got the old one off and the spring went forward to the big end, again, use the cutters, not hard, push the spring back in, holding with zip ties, and then you got to push it in somewhat far, because the portion that slips over the cable on the brake shoe is pretty wide, so the tool gets in the way. So once you have the spring far enough in, you can get it on like this. Release the cutters so you can get the spring to come back down. Maybe. There we go. Just pull it off. And there you have it. Spring come back down to stop it. You turn. And there's your emergency brake cable. So now the next step is important, whether you're doing drum brakes or disc brakes. And it's also what I see the do-it-yourselfers at home tend to miss this step. And that is cleaning and lubing your contact points. You'll see 3 spots on each side for each shoe. Now they call them contact points because that's actually, the brake shoe actually contacts that part of the backing plate. So what we need to do is clean all these 3 points up, 6 altogether, and then lube them. Now, hopefully you can see the contact points better. Now, wipe it off. We're going to put some lube on it. And then we are going to start putting the shoes back on and secure them. All right, you can see that we now have lube on all the contact points, even on the wheel cylinder, and then on the bottom portion where the bottom of the brake shoe goes. I lube anything that contacts. And what I use is the Permatex Ceramic Extreme Brake Parts Lubricant, just in case you wanted to know. Okay, now, new hardware. Anytime doing drums on any older car, get a hardware kit. Comes with all the new hardware and springs. You don't want that breaking after you have a brand new brake job done. So let's go ahead and get these pads put back in. Start by twisting this up around here. Now remember I said that little loop goes down here. So you got to put that on first. It's a pain. There you go, get the drop down. Now you're kind of going to have to finagle that big U-spring, while you shove the pads where they're supposed to be. We'll start by this one. Just grabbing it, pulling it out. Now it's not tight. We'll have to pull this one over and down like that. Now we'll get the other shoe. Before putting that other shoe on, start putting your self-adjuster stuff back together. Slip that in there. Then your actual self-adjuster. Also the fat wide opening is going to cover the e-brake lever and the brake shoe. And then your other little slit right here is going to work the little lever thing here. So let's put this in. This is where it gets a little tricky, especially if you only got, 2 hands. So again, you're going to have to pull out that red U-spring, slide the pad behind there, and then line up your self-adjuster. All right, got it back together. This side is going to be pretty difficult. You kind of got to put the pad in there, pull the spring back with your hands, or like I said, they may make a tool for this, but pull back with your hands real hard, slide it over into the groove. After you get that, again, that's not easy doing it by hand. It's really hard to get your fingers back there, pull it out enough to slip it over the shoe. Once you get it on there, make sure all your contact points are lined up where they're supposed to be, in the wheel cylinder, down here. Once you do that, then we can go ahead and start adjusting the rear to the new drum. So what you're going to do, put on the new drum. Also, when you're putting in that self-adjuster, screw it all the way in. That way it's easy to go in, and then you can start adjusting it outwards to make it tighter on the rotor. So right now, real loose. So what we're going to do is turn that self-adjuster to make the pads spread out a little bit more. Put the rotor back on, spin it. You do want a little bit of drag, and once we get to that point, I will show you what a decent amount, good amount of drag would be for drum brakes. So now I'm going to take this back off, adjust that self-adjuster out to make the pads go out a little bit, put it back on, turn it, and repeat it until we get the actual drag that we want on this. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. All right, after taking the drum off and putting back on, off and putting back on, I've got it adjusted to where there's some, you got some drag, which is what you want. So if you can hear the shoes scraping a little bit, that's what you want. I can still turn it by hand. There is some, like I said, resistance there, not a ton. I can still turn it by hand, so you want to make sure you can at least still turn it by hand. And you shouldn't have to struggle to turn it either, So right there is about good drag. Once you put on the wheel, spin the wheel, should be about the wheel go around turn and a half. So other than that, I like that. It's got some drag. So there you have it. There's the adjusting it after you get new rear drums put on. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do a drum brake job. Now, obviously for the other side, you would just repeat that process. So, thank you again for watching. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button, like, and give me a comment. Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't. That way I can use it for future videos. So again, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next one.